Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Thursday, September 8th, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox, which just turned your iPad into a television. Look! Slingbox has a new iPad app, so now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at Best Buy or slingbox.com. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz, Akhtar.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
And I'm Jason Howell.
And this is the show where we kick around the tech news of the day, try to make some darn sense of it. Joining us today to inject a little sense from ABC News Radio, Mr. Dan Patterson. Welcome back.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
It's great to have you. Nice map.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it makes you look really smart.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Please continue to believe that.
We are probably not going to spend a whole segment talking about Carol Bartz's quote, but I feel like we have to acknowledge it. It's just too funny.
Was that the acknowledgement right there? Or are we actually going to quote it?
What did she say? She got effed over
By
those
the board.
By the
I think she actually has some strong words for the current or one of the CFOs. Or
so if you
something
thought the short email about getting fired over the phone was testy, she was like, well, let me disabuse you of that notion. This is testy.
Well, you know what I liked also about the story was that she was checked into a hotel because she was out of town. It was like an Autodesk conference or something that she was speaking at, or some sort of a conference. She was checked into a hotel and then found out that they were trying to serve her termination papers and switched hotels. Like, you're not going to get to me.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I'm
Right off
taking
the fire escape. I kind of liked the way that story read.
Let's start, though, with our first real story. Korea Economic Daily News reports Samsung may unveil a Windows 8 tablet at Microsoft's Build conference next week. Build starts in Anaheim, California, September 13th. So we may get our first peek at a next-generation Windows tablet.
Ooh.
That makes a lot of sense because I think last week or 2 weeks ago they came out with Samsung came out with the Series 7 and they were running Windows 7 on the tablet. It's like, why did they come out with this thing now? Maybe they're just going to revamp it for next week
and throw Windows 8 on it once. Yeah, because everyone expects Microsoft to show off Windows 8 at Build. This is what we've all been waiting for. We also expect them to talk about Windows Phone 7 Mango at Build, possibly as well. And there's we mentioned this in Newsfuse yesterday. There's the possibility that Windows Phone apps might run on Windows 8, in which case we might see them in action on the Samsung tablet. Any bets from anyone on how likely that'll be?
I think it has to be a huge success.
Well, Microsoft's pretty much come out and said that that's what's going. I mean, that's going to be one of the great things about Windows 8.
Right.
So if it's not the case, then people are going to be really disappointed.
Do you think we'll see it next week, though?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah?
Let's be optimistic.
Dan, what do you think?
Well, I don't know about next week. I would love to be optimistic about it, but I think it's we may wait until next spring to see real Windows 8 on tablet. However, more competition means lower prices for tablets, means the internet is in more people's hands, and that can only be a good thing.
Developers who attend the conference may receive a free quad-core tablet. Last year, devs received free Windows phones. Whenever developers go to these conferences, they usually come home with something free. Google I/O.
And this is going to be the good one, too, because it's going to run like the dev build, the stripped down, bare metal.
It might be the first distribution of Windows 8, huh?
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way, though, right? Typically with like 7, even Vista and XP, it was always a better operating system in some regards before it actually hit RC.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this. I think Apple also has to kind of like really take notice, because if when 8 comes out, they don't have an OS 10 that's ready to run iOS apps, they're kind of
Intel Developers Forum happening next week as well. We're also still, I mean, the clock is ticking on any kind of iPhone announcement. A lot of people thought it was going to happen this week, and it did not.
Right.
So that could still be happening maybe next week, week after the next. So it's going to be a full month of announcements here in September. Google made news today, agreeing to acquire Zagat.
It's Zagat.
Zagat.
Yes, because it's
you pull out
the
Zagat
last names of people. So
when
that's
someone
the way
doesn't
that they
review your
pronounce
restaurant
it.
well.
Right. Well, you think of the cat.
All right.
And then you get it. You won't ever forget again.
Google has acquired Zagat. And moving forward, Zagat will be the cornerstone of Google's local offering. That's so said Marissa Meyer, who is VP of Local Maps and Location Services. She made the announcement on the Google blog. Zagat was founded by Tim and Nina Zagat more than 32 years ago. And they say they'll continue to be active in the business as co-chairs, and the merger will give them opportunity to expand. Google plans to collaborate, integrate the content with Google search results. It looks like it's probably going to be showing up in things like Places, would be my guess. They didn't say that for sure. Now, a source familiar with the plans here said that Zagat's content pricing, which is currently $25 a year and $5 a month, it's not a free service, will not change. That Zagat will continue to be a for-pay service. And it has about 11 million unique visitors, so it's not a huge property. So a lot of people are speculating that we may see more Zagat content showing up on Google than Google influence on Zagat itself.
So if you were to search, something's going to come up in the directory on Google. You search for a business, let's say a restaurant. It comes up, and it's got the nice Google map, and it's got some information.
Yeah, we never actually explained to anybody who doesn't know, Zagat is a restaurant review
guide. Right,
yeah.
If you're like, what is that? So Google already does some of that, and they take from a variety of sources. Like you'll see Yelp reviews, you'll see reviews on, I don't know, Urban Spoon type of a thing. So they're aggregating reviews, but how would they offer Zagat reviews as well that aren't free when everyone's so used to getting information like that on Google freely?
I would see in search a rating and like a snippet would come up, and you could click through to read more, in which case they would pimp you to pay for the subscription.
Right.
Right. I could also see on Places that same sort of like, oh, here's the Zagat rating, and here's, you know,
just like they do with Yelp already.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they currently bring in a lot of stuff from Yelp. They'll give a little snippet of it, and then it takes you to their site to read more.
Yeah, but the biggest advantage with Zagat, at least you get somewhat of trusted reviews. I mean, you've seen things on Yelp that's like, I think we just saw this the other day, like Ford's Theater being reviewed by Abe Lincoln. So these aren't exactly, you know, trusted sources versus Zagat, and they're going to go out there and actually go to these restaurants.
Zagat?
Yeah. Like the gun, the Gat?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
so Zagat.
That's right.
Excuse me. If they're still going to have these trusted reviews over there, that means Google's in the content business, which is kind of odd anyway. They don't, usually they're scraping everybody else's data. So do you think they're going to farm out this stuff as well? Like, will Bing have access to Zagat's ratings or whoever? I can't say the thing right now, thanks.
Zagat.
The rain in Spain.
I think that's exactly right. You know, whereas with the potential takeover of Yelp from last year, a few years ago, we saw Google looking towards a very similar business model, right? Something that's scalable, very large, and is crowdsourced. Zagat is the exact opposite of that. It's a premier listing, and although they may be able to, you know, other search engines may be able to include some of the metadata, this is Google moving towards content and towards premium content at that.
Is there a conflict of interest here? I mean, already CNET has an article up questioning whether this is an antitrust problem, whether, you know, Zagat will be content that will replace listings for things like Yelp, like other, you know, there's plenty of restaurant review websites out there and restaurant guides out there, and we've talked about this in relationship to the suits in Texas, the suits in Europe, the suits in Korea. They just had another you know, thing where the Korean antitrust committee sent people out to the Google offices in Korea. My interpretation is usually, well, they're a search engine, and while they have a preponderance of the market, there's still other search engines, and there's other ways to find information. So if Google just wants to turn themselves into a directory, they could. It's not antitrust for them to do that. Does anybody disagree?
No, I agree.
I mean, yeah, they've already had a blog post about this in the antitrust stuff as well. It's like, you can always change the URL. You don't have to use our service. This is not very difficult. It's not like an operating system. So, I mean, I'm agreeing with you on this one. I don't think this is a big problem antitrust-wise.
No one wants to push for search neutrality?
No. Just change the URL. If you really have an issue with it.
I'm sure somebody would like to push for search neutrality.
Is it you,
also
Darren?
think,
I'm just thinking about what Tom said about the Google directory, but they actually just canceled that project, and it's now dmoz.org, the open directory.
Oh, they
anyway.
spun it back out to DMOZ.
Yeah, they
Interesting, because they took DMOZ and brought it into Google directory a long time. I think they'll do the same thing with Deja News someday.
I don't know. Maybe they'll spin this into Hot Pot. Oh, wait, never mind.
Deep cuts, deep cuts.
Sorry.
Amazon is giving up its tax fight in California, at least if Jerry Brown agrees. Amazon, as you recall, canceled their affiliate program in California, as they have done in many states, because they object to a law that would require them to start collecting sales tax and collecting tax on affiliate members starting in July. Amazon and the state of California have agreed on a deal. Amazon will not have to collect taxes until September of 2012. So a year away. In return, Amazon drops its battle to overturn the state's new law that required out-of-state online retailers to collect the taxes. Now, the reason they want a year is because Congress is currently considering a national internet sales tax bill that was introduced at the start of August, and Amazon, I'm sure, is furiously lobbying to mold that bill. Any decision Congress makes would overrule this state law. So I think what Amazon thinks is, fine, give us till a year from now. If nothing changes, your law will abide by it. But if we can get the National Internet Sales Tax bill to work in our advantage and overrule your bill, then we've, then we've won. We'll never have to abide by your bill. Of course, Jerry Brown, the governor in California, has not indicated if he will agree to the deal because Amazon made the deal with the California State Assembly.
A couple of things. Amazon is basically taunting California with 7,000 jobs if this thing doesn't go through.
Yeah, Brown rejected that.
Right, so that's not going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with this deal. And the other thing is Amazon hasn't officially said anything if they're going to bring back the affiliates program that they cut out of California, which I think had something like 25,000 users in California.
That even seems low.
It was something like 10%, I want to say, of their whole thing. That was the thing. It was a very high number for them. So no full details on that yet. But you think that, Tom, you think that Amazon would
tell me what I think. No.
You know what you think, Tom? I don't know.
Tell me what I think. It's about time someone did.
That Amazon would bring back the affiliates program if this goes through.
I do, yeah. You're absolutely right. You've read my mind.
Hey, that was my job. I have to read minds right now.
I mean, this is the right congressional climate for Amazon to make moves like this. Not only could this set precedent for them going forward past 2012, but we're seeing this Congress is the anti-big government Congress, and right now, if Amazon can line up a few of these in different states, very similar to California, California can set a precedent for them down the line when there is perhaps a less amenable Congress.
Do you think that the sales tax will benefit Amazon's plans? I mean, putting in some kind of internet sales tax at all seems to override what they want, which is no tax at all unless it's in Washington where they exist.
Well, I think that this is a very good time for a company like Amazon to push keep government out, cut taxes, keep prices low for consumers. We're looking at a jobs bill tonight that could potentially, do $480 billion in money back to consumers' pockets. So right now, anything that says more money to consumers is good for companies to pursue.
All right, let's take a quick break. Thank our sponsor, Slingbox. Just in time, the holidays are coming. Slingbox introduces their new iPad app. Now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. You can find Slingbox or see a demo at Best Buy. But the way it works is you plug a Slingbox into your television, you wire it up, and then you plug that Ethernet cable in there or use the Wi-Fi adapter and put it on your internet. And then you can watch television anywhere you have an internet connection. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your laptop, and you can watch it on your iPad. It's like turning your iPad into a little television you can carry with you anywhere you go that gets all the channels you already get through cable or satellite without paying a dime extra. So check it out. It's not only great as a gift for holidays, but frankly, it's actually really good for travel on the holidays, because then you can watch all your DVR stuff and all of your television that you might miss at home and ignore your relatives. So check it out. Slingbox and your home TV now appearing on iPads everywhere. Check it out at slingbox.com. Let's go back to the news. What do we have here? Oh, actually, this is really interesting. This is my next.
As opposed to everything else.
Yeah, these other extraordinarily
perk up, everybody.
Boring stories. Everyone wake up. According to some documents in the ongoing Google Oracle case, Google in 2005 or maybe 2006 was in discussions with Sun Microsystems to not only open source Java, but to partner up with Sun on Android. So imagine a world in which Android was not under the sole control of Google, but was also partly run by Sun. Sun had their own version of Android available with enterprise-level devices, and Sun's huge pile of patents was backing Android instead of going to Oracle and ending up being the basis of a lawsuit against Google.
But if that happened, then developers for Android would be writing their applications in Java, not Apache Harmony, which is kind of like a bastardization of Java, if you will. And they'd have, like, I don't know, the Java SE rather than Dalvik, which is actually 2 to 3 times slower than Java would be on the same device. Like
it'd be easier
ARM.
for developers. There'd be less confusion about whether Dalvik actually is a violation of patents or not. The thing is, though, would Oracle still have bought Sun if they had done this? And in that case, would Google be happy being in business with Oracle?
And on this episode of TNT, we're going back to find out.
Yes.
Let's roll the clip.
This episode of TNT Sliders, we move into the alternate universe.
No, I really wish we were in that alternate universe. That really would have made this operating system a lot more compelling.
We seen a story a while ago that the CEO of Sun actually was all happy about Java working with, not Java, Sun working with Google and Java being an Android. So this is pretty consistent with that there were talks involved. Would Oracle want to buy Sun? Probably. Why not? Why not work with Google? I mean, Google's a big deal, right? Why not have a partnership that way? Sometimes you buy a company for the relationships. And even though Larry Ellison doesn't necessarily get along with a lot of people, it might be a nice foot in the door.
The other thing that was interesting about this was the belief that Microsoft was becoming too powerful in the mobile space. Andy Rubin had written an email. I believe it was Rubin. Now I'm not... check me on that. But yeah, it was Rubin writing an email, said, "It is widely believed that if an open platform is not introduced in the next few years, then Microsoft will own the programmable handset platform. Palm is dying, RIM is a one-trick pony, and while Symbian is growing market share, it's becoming a Nokia-only solution." So Rubin firing on all but one cylinder, which is Microsoft did not take over the market. Apple did. Nobody saw that.
When
coming.
was this email sent?
2005.
Wow,
Yet Apple's solution is anything but open.
Yes. Well, his strategy ends up being exactly right, except it's just take Microsoft out and replace it with Apple.
Well, so wait. So now Oracle and Google have to get together in front of a judge and like shake hands and tell each other they're sorry. Yeah, I mean, is that really what a judge is suggesting?
Bring us back to reality. Oracle and Google are not in cooperation on the Android platform. Oracle's suing Google, and Judge Wilson Alsup is overseeing that dispute, recommending strongly that CEO Larry Ellison and Google CEO Larry Page be ordered to attend the mediation. Oracle had planned to send their president, Safra Katz. Google planned to send Andy Rubin, who's in charge of the Android platform. Neither of the parties were happy with that, so the judge said, no, you need to send your CEOs. The magistrate judge, Paul Singh Gruel, actually gets to hear the mediation and decide which executives should appear. So we don't know if Judge Gruel will require the CEOs to show up, but that would be a hell of a meeting, wouldn't it?
I love it. It's like a couple of mob bosses. Like, you can't send your second guy.
Yeah.
That is disrespectful.
To the family.
Well, the trial is set for October 31st if no agreement is reached in these mediations. So they're trying to get it all worked out by then. Who is excited about 4K in the home?
I am.
Forget this
future
3D crap.
Man. That's not going to
Sony has announced the VPL VW1000ES.
I've already forgotten what the name of it is.
People love to name televisions with snappy names.
It's a projector.
And it's a television projector.
It's a nice-looking one.
Designed explicitly for home theater aficionados. So this isn't like a theater class one. This is for your home. It is not the first one. You found a JVC.
There was a JVC one.
But that one was $125,000.
Only $125,000.
So this, big bargain, $25,000 coming in December.
That's what TechNet is reporting at $25,000. No word what the bulbs cost.
I think that's for the bulb.
Each
Actually,
bulb,
you know what? That does include installation.
Installation.
$25,000.
But see, the thing about 4K is that while awesome theoretically, there's really not a whole lot of content unless you're running around with red cams or like I don't know what else people are.
It's bragging rights. It's like having
District
HD
9. There's the Social Network. There's Knowing.
Or you could just run 4 HD things up at one time with this thing, like picture in picture in picture in picture, or picture and picture.
Finally,
you can do
your
2K
holiday
3D
gift for the geek who has everything.
SXRD 4K panel can do 4096 by 2160 pixels, hence the 4K. Iris 3 technology gives you 1,000,000 to 1 contrast. Thing puts out 2,000 lumens onto a 200-inch diagonal screen, and it can upscale SD or HD. It upscales HD.
Dude, but will it upscale your old DVD?
Yes.
Yeah?
It'll upscale SD or HD.
Doesn't mean it'll do it well. It'll try.
You just need a really, really big white wall.
It'll also upscale 2D or 3D content for 4K playback. All right, so round the horn, knowing that there's really hardly any content in 4K that you can get your hands on, if you had $25,000 just sitting at your disposal, would you buy this, Sarah Lane?
Yeah, I've got a pretty big wall in my house.
All right, really? Yeah. All right, Dan Patterson.
I live in Brooklyn and have a really small wall in my house, but you betcha.
Project across the street.
Darren Kitchen.
I have 8,847,360 reasons to get this. That's how many pixels there are.
No, I'm waiting for the actual TV that can do it.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to worry about the
lone dissenter.
That's right. I don't want to worry about the blackout curtains and all this other nonsense.
I'm getting one too.
I want to watch super bright 4K.
All right.
Thank goodness money is no object for any of us.
Yeah, I know. Well, because basically, if I had left it be like, would you buy this? It would have been no.
Right.
I have a feeling. I don't know. One of you may be independently wealthy and hiding it. Maybe I should have.
I think it's Iyaz.
I think we're going to have this in the TWiT kitchen pretty soon.
Let's move on to coverage of patent wars. HTC filed yet another patent infringement lawsuit against Apple. Why is that news? Well, 9 of the patents named in the suit were all acquired by Google over the past year from clients like Palm, Motorola, and OpenWave. And all 9 patents were transferred to HTC on September 1st. HTC says, yes, we did pay for the patents. They were not a gift, but they would not say how much they paid. This is the first time Google has openly and directly assisted an Android OEM.
Wow.
Original equipment manufacturer. So we've been waiting and waiting for Google to ride to the rescue. They finally did. Dan, what does this mean? Does this change the whole patent system? Can now every Android manufacturer expect that Google will ride to the rescue?
Well, I'm absolutely an expert on how this convoluted patent system works. I have no idea. I don't know if this is, on its surface, it looks like this could be a game changer, but at the same time, maybe we know about this now. But is this patent business as usual outside of the tech world? I have no idea.
Well, Google has not actually transferred any patents before, so that's new.
But companies of Google's size, and I mean, are there historical? I keep going back to precedent, but are there historical precedents we can look at? I just don't know.
When you say transfer patents, do you mean that Google has the patents and then they say, all right, they're yours now?
Yeah,
we're
selling you these 9 patents.
Like baseball cards, right?
So I just don't understand. I mean, I understand what Google is doing, and they're doing, I think, the right thing to coming to bat for the manufacturers that are running Android and under attack. But they don't have many patents to begin with. Like, it just seemed kind of strange to me that Google would be like, we don't have a whole lot, but here, you can have these. We won't need them going forward.
Well, it keeps Google at least a beat away from going Google versus Apple.
Yeah, why didn't Google go after this themselves?
Well, that's exactly what, well, then again, remember, with the Oracle case, they didn't, they sent Andy Rubin, or they wanted to send Andy Rubin. Number 2, this is them saying, oh, okay, we'll send HTC to fight our battle, huh?
I don't know about that.
Okay,
you actually know what you're talking about. Let's hear what you have to say.
Thanks.
Well, figure that when Google wanted to buy Motorola, they had a bunch of partners that were repeating this PR thing. Oh, yeah, we're fine. Google's got our back. Google's got our back. Maybe this is part of that whole deal. If you are in a case with Apple or anybody that's going after patents, we will try to back you up any which way we can, as long as you continue to make Android phones and to say this statement. So theoretically, it's like that. If it's transferring the actual patents, why they would do that versus trying to come into this lawsuit themselves, they don't want to go into the lawsuit themselves. If they wanted to interject, that might be a whole other issue. It might cost them money versus letting, like Darren was saying, let somebody else fight it. But yes, he was saying something that made sense. But let HTC go after this, but I still think it's part of the deal when they bought Moto.
How many times can you transfer patents before they're dead? Like, Google gives HTC these patents,
like a car.
right?
You can keep buying it and trading it.
So, okay, let's say HTC...
Well, that's 20 years.
Car will break down.
Let's say HTC wins against Apple, right? Can HTC then transfer back to Google, who could then transfer to another EOM?
Yeah, until the patent expires, right?
Right, until it expires. I mean, you could do it, but like then again, you
they could literally play
hot potato.
It's like yeah, exactly.
You can always license the patent. It's not like you have to transfer it, right? They don't have to do that necessarily.
Right.
So if HTC says, or Google, or HTC
Google
own
could license it cheap.
They're like, yeah, this holds up under court. Does anyone else want to license this right now? Now they're protected. So then they could probably do that.
Yeah, and that's how this works, right? Is HTC now says, Apple, you need to drop your suits against us. We'll drop our suits against you. We'll do a cross-licensing agreement. Everybody goes home happy. Yeah.
And you wonder why everyone's so confused.
Other skirmishes in the patent wars. Apple has filed suit against Samsung in Japan. So I've lost track. I know it's Australia, Germany, Netherlands, the United States, now Japan. This is over the Samsung Galaxy S smartphones and the Galaxy Tab tablets. And Microsoft struck a patent licensing deal with Acer and ViewSonic that will see each of those companies pay royalties for their Android devices, like the Iconia Smart and the ViewPad. So Microsoft, very victorious in these lawsuits against companies that make Android devices. They got HTC to pay $5 a device.
These aren't lawsuits, right? They're just actually getting licensing fees with these.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They don't have to go to court. Microsoft's
they must have something bulletproof on these guys. They're like, well, we have a bunch of people. This is their new revenue stream. This is pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, would be ideal for everybody, right? It's like you just have this nice flow of money traffic coming into Microsoft. Nobody's mad at each other. You don't have to pay lawyers a bunch of stuff. It's like you figure out a deal.
Money flow, right? To the lawyers.
I think that's
right.
That's why this is so confusing. You know, we have to track how these companies are dealing with each other internally and externally, which is a pain in the neck. If this went to court, which they all want to avoid, it would set a very clear precedent. We could follow a trail of the exact protocol and procedure that needs to occur here. But because this is like baseball card trading, we don't know the deals that are happening backroom, and we can't really keep track of it.
Although we do not know when the licensing happens, because that has to happen publicly.
Well, then if it generates revenue, it's going to be in their filing, so you're going to see where this money comes from.
I guess private company, we might not know.
Well, right, we can see, that's what I'm saying. We can see the front end of the occurrences, but we don't know the types of conversations that are occurring or, you know, who, right.
All right, let's move on to the news fuse. I'm going to save that princess one of these days. Google just beat iCloud, folks. Music Beta, Google's cloud locker service, now works on Apple's mobile devices through a new website designed to work on iOS. Now, Amazon's Cloud Player only works on iPad, so Google actually beating Amazon on iOS as well. Google Music Beta is beta, don't forget that, so it's still in a semi-private trial phase, but that does mean it's free.
For you budget-conscious smartphone users, it turns out that Sprint gives you the most megabytes per dollar compared to the other major wireless carriers, according to a new study by Validos. For $1, you get 12.5 megabytes of data from Sprint, which is 8 cents per megabyte. T-Mobile only gives you 4.3 for the same dollar. And in the middle, for AT&T and Verizon, they both give you about 5.6, 5 megabytes, respectively.
I liked how they did the study because it wasn't just looking at the rates. They actually looked at the usage to see how much of the data you could actually use, because AT&T's rap is always like, well, yeah, I'm paying for data, but I could never use it because I don't have any service.
Sprint, you rule.
Good job, Sprint.
For now, that's why they're still around. Twitter CEO Dick Costolo announced that Twitter has 100 million active monthly users. Yeah, but their definition of active user is someone who reads and or creates content on Twitter. Approximately 40% of Twitter's users, they don't create posts. So that's a user somehow. The site
you know what? As long as they're reading the ads.
Well, the site also gets 400 million visitors a month. Costello says these numbers weren't announced before because Twitter wanted to get a hold on that whole company infrastructure, you know, keeping servers up and things like that first.
Security researcher Moxie Marlinspike presented a technology called Convergence at Black Hat that uses crowdsourced notaries to double-check security certificates, thus avoiding the problems recently experienced by DigiNotar and GlobalSign. So why not add it into the browsers? Well, Google security researcher Adam Langley said that he didn't think it was, quote, something we would add in Chrome.
They were afraid they'd end up having to run the notaries themselves.
Yeah, well, there's the plugin for Firefox, but there isn't a plug-in for Chrome.
So make a plug-in.
Makes you wonder.
Plug it in.
Chumby wants to sell you the Net TV, a new set-top box that allows you to access internet content on your television. However, the Net TV has some tricks up its sleeve. The Chumby box gives you pass-through video, so you'll be able to watch something while the Chumby information, like say your Twitter stream, appears as an overlay. Additionally, you can control it with an infrared remote or an Android app. iOS support is supposedly coming. Since it's a Chumby, the device is open source. It's very small. Pricing and availability information are not known yet, but it's an interesting little take on the whole TV app thing.
Yeah. Am I the only one who wants to call it Knee TV? I don't see net in there.
Because it's an internet.
Yeah.
So
well,
no,
I get the point, but with the capital.
So I was thinking neh, but
neh.
Nah.
The knights who say neh.
I want to hack
There's your ad campaign right there.
Nights you say meh.
Because Nokia and Microsoft are like super BFFs now. The two released a joint announcement. They're going to have 1,000 babies together. Phones. The two have released a joint announcement touting that Microsoft apps are coming to Symbian. So you Symbian users will get Link, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Document Connection, which is a viewer for documents. In 2012, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint will also be coming as native apps.
Invensys, I can't say this name right. Invensys came up with a new way to make money by mounting memory. What am I? I'm out of here. Sorry.
They're going to make money.
They're going to make money by doing memory, by mounting and integrating circuits upside down and in a staggered configuration. Invensys is able to cram more memory in a smaller space than fits on DRAM. This space efficiency is supposed to also increase speed and reduce power consumption. So that's nice. Since it's so small, it's meant for smaller form factors like tablets and smartphones. The company will demonstrate the tech at the IDF next week, which is Intel Developers Forum.
Sweet.
Yahoo's top brass isn't safe. Ask Carol Bartz. An investment fund called Third Point just bought up a little over 5% of Yahoo and immediately called for an overhaul of the board. The fund's chief executive said that the board demonstrated, quote, serious misjudgment in hiring Bartz in the first place, then showed a lack of competence by waiting so long to get rid of her. So Third Point is now Yahoo's third largest outside investor.
Is that Freudian? Bartz?
That was
Bratz?
no. That was,
Bratz?
you said Bratz by mistake instead of Bartz.
Sorry.
But honestly, fits.
Yeah.
Shoe fits.
I thought you were doing it on purpose. I thought that was your cute little Carol Bratz. You know, is always complaining about something. Oh, you got fired.
Back on September 1st, New Zealand introduced a law that would punish people who downloaded copyright content illegally with up to a $15,000 fine and the potential to have their internet access cut off. Orcon, a major ISP in New Zealand, has already seen a difference. Peer-to-peer traffic has dropped around 10%, according to CEO Scott Bartlett. He also said that he's unsure if this is the beginning of a trend or not, but it looks like people are at least a little more afraid to do P2P in New Zealand than they were before. Let's move on to the randomizer.
Randomizer.
Now, honestly, all we have to do is read you the headline from the Engadget post about this story, and you will have all the information you need for the future. Scientists develop blood-swimming microspiders to heal injuries, deliver drugs.
There's so much.
What kind of drugs?
Spider drugs.
Yeah.
Theoretically, any kind of drugs. Yeah. The microspiders are half gold, half silica, and are self-propelled by a molecule called the Grubbs catalyst.
Oh.
Me too.
What a coincidence.
No, this is one of those like nanobots are going to like target tumors and deliver the drugs right to the place.
This is a smart way to write science articles, flat out with that title.
Is it though?
Well, yeah. Well, because if you wrote about a virus, you ever seen what a virus looks like?
Right.
It looks like this kind of like alien ship kind of thing with these spider legs, and that looks really neat when you're a kid.
Lander.
Kind of, yeah. And you're like, hey, I want to see what that does. And oh, it's a virus. And
Why does it have to have spider as part of it?
See, that's what I mean. It may not be so
smart.
Is it
an arachnid nanobot?
It just look. It's got little legs.
Well, okay.
Well,
but
how many
if it's
though?
8,
Because
it's
it has to have 8.
4.
If it's more than 8,
like it's got a million
less
eyes.
than, you might as well call it a cephalopod.
They're spider-like machines. They're not actually, and they're less than a micrometer wide, so micrometer wide.
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. Don't worry. They're not going to bite you.
It is still scarier than
well, they might.
Cephalopods.
I mean, they got to get in.
See, calling them microspiders just turned Sarah totally off this idea.
I hate it.
I don't think the doctor's going to call it that way.
You know, science has gone too far.
I'm going to inject you with microspiders.
I'll take my sickness. I'm out of here.
Let's move on to the calendar.
On this day, September 8th, in 1966, guess what debuted on NBC?
Pants?
Star Trek.
Oh, there were pants.
The cult leaders from the Starship Enterprise were canceled after just 3 seasons because of low ratings. But you wouldn't know that today because it just took some time for them to really get that following. So all you people who say, I loved that show, why was it canceled after 3 seasons? Could be the next Star Trek. Never know. Michael S. Hart, the inventor of ebooks, has died at age 64. In 1971, he digitized and distributed the first text and founded Project Gutenberg, which, for anyone who's not familiar, is an online library that encourages the creation and distribution of ebooks and breaks down the bars of ignorance and illiteracy. So quite the impact he has made. Sprint will raise their early termination fee to $350 tomorrow.
So
Friday,
hurry up and cancel.
September 9th.
Yeah,
exactly.
Actually.
They give you the best megabytes per dollar. Why would you want to leave?
ever want to leave? Well, see, that they're feeling confident.
Right.
Like, you really want to
You're
get
not
out of
going
here.
anywhere.
You're going to have to make up the money somehow.
Yeah, meanwhile, all the other telcos are offering ridiculous promotions on re-ups for new phones.
Yeah,
something's
I know.
in the air.
Yeah, right. I wonder if there's any sort of timing going on.
Are we coming up to like a holiday?
I don't think there's going to be any new phones anytime soon. It's probably just coincidental.
Razr 8.
A German court will rule on Samsung Galaxy Tab community design infringement tomorrow, September 9th. Last Friday, the court ordered Samsung to stop selling Galaxy Tab 7.7 right when IFA was happening, and also there was the earlier ban on the Galaxy Tab 10.1 by the German court in late August. The Ohio Linux Fest free and open software conference and expo kicks off in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow, runs through Sunday. Darren, are you going?
No,
You're
but I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And AT&T is offering the Sony Ericsson Xperia Play September 18th for $49. I'm just going to say $50, okay? It's $50.
Call it 50.
A little bit more with tax. You also need a new contract.
We got a voicemail, a good one from Brian, actually, who has a question about how that Amazon tablet might interact with all these Google patents.
This is Brian over in the East Bay. I was calling you guys with a question. If Amazon forks Android, are they still under the protection, the patent protection of Google? We've heard that, you know, they're not going to be having the Google Store or any of the Google products, and they're going to be having all, you know, the Amazon products. So are they still afforded the protection of Google's patents that they just acquired? All right. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you guys know anything, I'd love to hear that. Thank you. Bye.
Now, that's an interesting question because Google hasn't shown much patent protection to anybody yet until today with the HTC thing.
But Amazon is also, it's like they're thumbing their nose at the whole Google system anyway. I mean, yeah, they're going to have an Android.
If they were to do this and fork Android, which we don't know.
Right. Yeah. Assuming that that's going to happen as planned, I could see Google maybe saying, well, if you work with us a little bit more closely and not just sort of do things your own way and go all maverick on us, maybe we'd like to share patents with you a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know if it works that way.
Well, he said if you knew anything, so I don't know anything about this. So
You don't have any speculation?
No, that's speculation. He
would
said
Google,
no.
Would Google, if forget Amazon, anybody forking Android, there's like 4 forks of Android in China right now. There was a new one today. So is Google going to think about patent protection for those? I doubt it.
Well, it's not like Google goes off your like CyanogenMod if you like put that on your phone. It's
no, but they're not going to come to CyanogenMod's aid if CyanogenMod gets sued for a patent violation either.
See, I think
well, and it's also not like these companies don't have. I mean, Amazon's counsel, I'm sure, is you know, stacked, and I'm sure that before they decided to do this, they ran it past their legal and you know, can we fight this if we have to?
See, I thought his question was more about, if you fork off Android at all, will Google's patents still apply?
That's a
what
different
I thought.
question.
That's what I thought he was asking. And if I just don't know what scope Google's patents covered when they bought Motorola or what they have on their own. So I don't know how far, like, because if it's all UI stuff and Amazon changes all of that and all the patents are on UI, well, there's no reason for Google to ever get involved. But if it's at the base layer of of Android, then there's a chance for them to help out. Will they help out is a whole other question.
Well, the Android is open source, so you are indemnified against being sued for using Android by the patent holders of Android. The question is if it's somebody who's not involved in the Chromium, or I'm sorry, in the Android project, then they would be suing you for using Android, and will Google then come and try to use their pile of patents to countersue and do that?
Or Amazon just pay them to do that.
Let's move on to the emails. TNT@twit.tv is the email address. Meriton already knew that. He sent us this email. I was thinking about Spotify the other day, and you guys always used to say Europeans are so lucky to have Spotify. Well, I live in Macedonia, and we don't get Spotify. And I believe more than 50% of the countries in Europe don't get it, and it sucks. Only Great Britain, Spain, and some 3 other countries get it. So yeah, now you guys have it, and we still don't. I know workarounds via proxies, but that takes away the fun of using it. Also, I'm hearing that Netflix is trying to launch in Europe. Well, my guess is they're only going to launch in Great Britain, Germany, France, and probably 2 more countries. And although you think of Europe as a whole market, it's not. We don't get anything in Macedonia, not even PayPal. So when you guys refer to Europe, I think you should rephrase that to a limited part of Europe that is getting the service. Because remember, more than 50% is left behind.
So the new joke is it's Macedonia.
Macedonia is the new Canada.
Macedonia,
take
you
that,
don't get it.
Wouldn't you mean the new Nebraska? Because it's always like, you know, void where prohibited, not available in Nebraska. And it's like, why Nebraska?
Are we not doing a good job of letting everyone know that we understand that there are different regulations in different European countries?
No,
I feel like we all know that. But
I think
maybe
we all
it's
know
not.
that.
coming across.
We should just have it as a ticker on the bottom of the.
But I understand his frustration.
We are aware the EU is not necessarily.
I understand his frustration when he's sitting there in Macedonia. We're like, oh, Europe gets everything. He's like, I'm in Europe. I don't got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm less than Canada here.
Very true.
I just wanted to give Macedonia a voice.
I think that Merritt appreciates that. Next email from Julian in San Diego. Hey, TNT, I just got this email this morning, and 3 things made me forward it to you. By the way, it was an email from Diaspora saying, thanks for your interest in being part of the community. You may not have heard from us in a while, but we're working hard, heads down. We're sending out alpha invitations now as quickly as we can, so if you haven't gotten yours yet, you'll receive it by the end of October. He says 3 things. I'm happy that Diaspora isn't dead. They're actually going to launch a product soon, so they say. Number 2, I noted that they have a we thought of circles first point that they're trying to make. Obviously, Google now has circles, and Diaspora is probably like, gosh, no, we did that first. And number 3, they say they have hundreds of thousands of people already signed up to try it out. Here's to hoping that distributed open source social networks have legs. Wow. I had almost forgot about Diaspora.
You know what? I get regular notes from people saying, oh, I've added you on Diaspora. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I should go check in and see what's going on there.
I got this for a while, and they stopped.
If you want to take my screen, Jason, I've actually got Diaspora up here. And at the top 2 posts are for a guy named Andrew who needs a Google Plus invite. But look at that. You know what? It looks very Google Plus-like. And as he points out, they had this kind of circles organization.
It looks all like Facebook with a black bar instead of a blue bar.
Holy crap,
wow,
that looks exactly
like
Google
Plus.
That is crazy.
I thought that was Google Plus.
I did too.
Are you sure you're not
I thought you were actually on the wrong page.
Yeah. Zoom in on that URL. I don't believe it.
No, that is joindiaspora.com.
That's
wow.
wild.
Very close.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Well, that's weirdly.
But it has a search, though. That's a feature. A search feature.
Including the top black bar up there.
Well, maybe it's just the theme. Maybe that's just what the inner
Look at these recent notifications that I have from people who started sharing with me. Huh.
I mean, I'm weirded out.
So am I.
It's like that episode of Star Trek where there's an alternate universe.
So this one, wait. So
and some things are just different.
Does Plus have the goatee, or does Diaspora have the goatee?
Diaspora definitely has the goatee.
I wonder if there's some connection there. I don't know. Anybody knows anything, email us, TNT@twit.tv.
Please do.
Leave a voicemail.
All right. Thanks, everybody on our subreddit for pitching in and submitting stories. We definitely use stories out of Reddit every day, and we definitely look at that to figure out how to weight what we cover. Big thanks to Flying Spatula, TM204, HR Himes, SP Sheridan, Gordon McLeod, PC Guy 8088, and everybody who submits stories at technewstoday.reddit.com. We really appreciate your help. It helps us to keep tabs on what you guys want to hear us talk about. Dan Patterson, great to have you back on the show. Let folks know what you're doing at ABC News Radio. You got some really interesting stuff going on over there.
Yeah, and thank you for participating yesterday. So one of the things, I'll be down at Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan live on Sunday all day doing the memorial ceremony commemorating the 10th anniversary of 9/11. And one of the things we're asking people to do is, and you can find this on my Google+, but call a phone number, and, you know, standard rates apply, and leave your story. You know, nothing dramatic, nothing offensive, but just where you were, when you were, and memories of 9/11. And so far, we have some outstanding stuff. Tom, I appreciate you sending something in. Lee Woodruff and Bob Woodruff, correspondents in ABC, sent some really touching notes. So it's just been I'm going to use SoundCloud to distribute this. It's nothing fancy. It's just a way for people to kind of express themselves on that day. And I know everyone is inundated with 9/11 news and will be on Sunday, but I just figured this would be a nice way to allow people to participate and feel as though they too, we're all Americans, or, you know, those of us here in the States, to feel as though they can express themselves. The number is 347-881-3418. And I'm sorry for the plug. I don't mean that to be a plug. It's just you know, something special we're trying to do that day.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an interesting project, and I was happy to call it and share my story if it's of any use to you. Also, the latest Hack 5 is a must-see.
It really is. It has a case mod having to do with kittens.
I love it already.
14 wireless radios. You can't go wrong.
Something to cheer you up. after the September 11th memorial.
Sorry.
No, absolutely.
Kitten mod.
No, both these things are worth checking out. So thanks, everybody, for watching us. twit.tv/TNT is the place to find all of our episodes, link to the wiki with the show notes, the links to what's on the show. And you can call us, leave us a voicemail. And if you've got a good one like we had today, we'll play it on the show. 260-TNT-SHOW is the Google voicemail number. TNT@twit.tv is the email address. We got Will Harris on the show tomorrow. We'll see you then.